Growing up, my dad wasn't in the picture. As a kid, I always yearned for a father figure. Now that Forrest is older, I want to make sure he gets my input. Even when he doesn't want it. So why don't you pull up a chair and join our fireside chat? 3, 2, 1, and we're live. Alright, man, now that we're live, I'm going to take these things off because we just have them on so we can actually hear how we sound on the audio.
Yup.
Alright, and I'm going to turn the audio down a lot because we're making lots of noise. There we go, much better.
Okie dokie.
Alright, so another father-son fireside chat, number 4?
Yeah, I believe so.
Alright, so we're back. What's going on with you, man?
Not much, just played a little bit of Ghost of Tsushima with you.
Yeah,
also
Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, we did go hang out to France. We did training day as a family. Mom and Miss Peaches trained, and you and Dylan trained, and me and Mr. Keith trained.
Yup.
Mr. Keith tapped me out today. And Dylan took you down. Bad day for the Denzes. Took you down twice. And I pulled guard twice.
He pulled guard twice too.
Yeah, Mr. Keith pulled guard a lot too. I got tired though. Mr. Keith's in better shape than me. I gotta work on that.
Sorry about the wind if you hear it too.
Well, oh, the wind and the rain? Yeah, it's stormy out. Stormy!
It's been all weird today. Rain, not rain, clouds, no clouds.
Went to Denny's today. Today's the first time we've eaten out since the pandemic started.
Eating out at a restaurant. We have gotten food. We have ordered food.
But, I mean, we actually sat inside the restaurant and ate. It was Denny's though.
Yeah, it was good.
It was really good.
Denny's is not the pinnacle of breakfast, but it's good food.
It was cheap too. I like that. It's cheap enough I was able to pay for everybody. That's the best part.
Yeah, so today we gotta finish our podcast from the other day about Last of Us.
Yes, and then the next one's gonna be the sad one where we're talking about the dog.
Yeah,
you got Mom in here talking about the dog.
Today we got a fun one. We're talking about video games.
Mm-hmm. So we finished The Last of Us Part 2.
Yep.
Definitely not a game for anybody under the age of, I don't know, 14, 15 at least.
And not for any man-children who are going to send death threats to voice actors like little babies either.
Yeah, the actress that played Abby got some death threats.
I disagree with that, but...
I don't know, Mr. Derek is not happy with Abby either.
I think they actually did Abby very well, and I think the voice actor did an especially good job.
It's not that she didn't do a good job, I think she did a phenomenal job too, but she played Wii Golf on Joel's head, and that's got everyone upset.
Well, that's the whole point of the story.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it. So, last time we were still playing as Ellie, I believe, right? Or did we start as Abby, maybe?
I'm not sure, I think we might have been through the Ellie stuff, maybe not. But we were very close to finishing Ellie.
It is time to air our grievances about the game now that we finished it. So, who do you want to go first, me or you?
You go first. I don't have my grievances are the same as last time.
I think I've got about 4 grievances. The pacing, the first fight, the second fight, and Dina. So let's start with the pacing. The pacing is really frustrating just because of the way they did it, and I think it's not a hard solve, but I also don't think it's a terrible problem. It's not ruining the game for me, it's just a little frustrating because what happens is you play as Ellie for the 3 days in Seattle, and then Abby comes, shoots one of the characters from Jackson named Jesse, and then, threatens to shoot Ellie. Ellie goes on her little whiny speech.
Shoots Tommy too, right?
No, she threatens to kill Tommy, so Ellie has to drop her gun. So then, Ellie goes on her whiny little speech, like a little baby, and then Abby points the gun at her, and then you start playing as Abby. And I think that's very frustrating, because Abby's storyline is just as long as the 3 days that Ellie had in Seattle, and you just really want to know what's going to happen, but you still have hours to go before you get back there. So that really frustrated me. My second grievance is the first fight. After you finish Abby's part of the story, you go back to the point in time that you were before you went to Abby's storyline. Since when you start Abby's storyline, it's a couple days before the climax.
Basically, you're playing the same 3 days as Abby as you are as Ellie. So it's the same timeline that you're playing in, but they just go back and start Abby's timeline 3 days ago.
And honestly, I really liked Abby's storyline because, she went from killing somebody and not really understanding the dynamic there. She just wanted to kill Joel.
Who killed her father?
Yeah.
To be fair.
To going to understand the emotions that, Ellie feels again. Because during the course of Abby's storyline, there's lots of drama going on with her old group with the wolves. her and Owen have a thing, even though Owen's like girlfriend is pregnant with his baby and all that stuff. But she also meets these young cultists who are leaving the cult because they disagree with the teachings, and one of them dies, unfortunately. But she still keeps a strong relationship.
Can you swing the mic just a little bit that way so I can see your face? Yeah, that's good.
But she still has I have to lean in this way to talk into the mic good. So.
I'll just swing it back then.
Yeah, once you start talking, I'll back up.
Alright.
So anyway, besides the technical difficulties, Abby comes very close to this boy named Lev, and she starts to understand kind of...
Boy?
It's confusing. We'll say boy for now, because if it is a she identifies as a boy, so we'll just go with the politically... We'll just go with the I don't know, though. But
it is for sure she.
We'll just go with the politically correct version and say that he. So comes very close with a boy named Lev. And...
Or he, she.
Comes very close with a boy named Lev, and starts to understand kind of...
Also, Lev is much younger, so it's not like a...
No.
Not like a boy-girl, like, love relationship.
Yeah, Lev
it's
is
more of a mentoring relationship.
Lev is probably, somewhere is probably around the age where you start puberty-ish. Maybe a little younger. So, Abby starts to understand kind of what a similar relationship between... starts to have that relationship, and then she starts learning, she starts becoming more remorseful and definitely more tolerable as you're playing the game. You don't just hate Abby. But, I still wanted Abby to die, and that leads into my next point. But, I think they did a good job with that, and I think that's important to get out there because it's a hot take. And,
Hot take.
I don't think there was really too many big problems with the writing except for the pacing and the two fights. Because now we get into the first fight. Yeah, the first fight. So once you're done with Abby's 3 days in Seattle, you get to the point where she threatens to kill Ellie. And somehow they end up back at the stage. And they have this whole big fight behind the stage. And what happens is...
Somehow, they went back after they killed all of Abby's friends. They went back to the stage where they were staying, and Abby followed them back.
Ellie, you mean?
No, Ellie killed all of Abby's friends. They went back to their stage, the theater.
No. They went back to the theater, but that's not the stage. They went back to the stage part of the theater is what I'm saying.
Right.
So you get back to the point after Ellie kills Jesse, and then Lev, who's the bow guy, has his bow trained on Tommy, so if Tommy tries anything, Tommy's dead. So Abby and Ellie start fighting backstage. And the problem with this fight is Abby has no weapons. She loses her gun on the way to the stage. So she's going to have to fight Ellie, who has all of her guns and a bow, with bottles and bricks in her fists. And my problem with this is that both of them have the same powers. They both have...
Well, wait, dude, Abby's way more savage than
They
her.
both have listen mode.
Abby's got guns, bro.
Yeah,
guns are better than guns.
Guns... It doesn't matter. They have the same stealth abilities and the same tracking abilities. They both have the same listen mode, and they both have the same stealth mode, and the only way that Abby should win this fight is if you play amazingly as Abby and just die a lot as Ellie. But canonically, if you play the same, which is most likely, Abby should lose this fight because she's going against somebody with the same tracking and stealth skills who has guns. I think Ellie should have won that fight, and I think it would have been fine, because everybody wants Abby to die at that point anyway. So you can just have Ellie kill Abby and cut off an unnecessary 4 hours of the game. And I think that's a much better ending than what happened, and this is another pacing problem as they drag it out. So Abby survives and lets Ellie live again.
Abby won the fight, by the way. Abby wins the fight and lets Ellie live.
Mm-hmm. And then Abby and Lev go to Santa Monica. So Abby actually lets Tommy and Ellie live again.
Mm-hmm.
So then
That's
Abby...
twice, 2 times.
Yeah. So then Abby and Lev go to Santa Monica to chase down rumors of the Fireflies, the old group that, Abby and Owen used to belong to.
And Abby had to leave her group that she was in because she killed everyone to help Lev escape. Killed her own friends.
she killed wolves. And then, they go to Santa Monica chasing down the Fireflies. And they get to the Fireflies, but then some crazy people get hurt.
Another group.
Yeah, they're called Rattlers. Which is the 4th group in this story, by the way, which is too many. 3 groups was already, plenty. But now they're adding a fourth group. So this fourth group takes Abby and Lev, and then we start playing as Ellie again. So Ellie and Dina are trying to live on a ranch peacefully, and then as you are playing this ranch section, eventually at the end of it, Tommy comes to their home, and because Ellie keeps having nightmares and can't sleep and can't
She's
eat.
having PTSD.
Yeah, because of what Abby did. And then Tommy comes and says, and figures out that Abby's going to be in Santa Monica, and then Ellie follows those trails back to Santa Monica.
Leaves Dina. Leaves the baby.
Yeah, leaves Dina and Dina's baby.
Dina wants her to stay, but she won't stay.
Yeah,
So she's throwing away her...
Uh-huh. She's throwing
Dina
away
is her girlfriend, if you haven't been following her. We didn't make it very clear.
Yeah.
So Dina's her life mate. She left her life mate and the baby to go
Dina-
chase after her.
So Dina and Ellie are in a
Abby.
relationship, and then Dina has a baby from Jesse because they were dating, and, they had a baby.
But Jesse's dead.
Yeah, so Ellie and Dina are taking care of the baby and living on a ranch. And then Tommy comes and tells Ellie that Abby is in Santa Monica, and because of Ellie's PTSD or whatever, she goes to Santa Monica to kill the Rattlers. And the only reason why I'm okay with this Rattlers part is because you get an awesome gun for Ellie. Besides that, I think it's completely unnecessary. Because...
That was actually my favorite fight in the entire game.
Yeah, the fights are awesome against the Rattlers. They're really cool fights, but besides that, story-wise, it didn't make any sense to me. So they have this whole long section where you fight against the Rattlers and you eventually get to the prison. And the prisoners say that because Abby tried to escape, the Rattlers sent her to the section of the prison where you're basically just crucified and left to die. So Ellie, who has some weird injury or whatever, stumbles all the way down to...
She doesn't have a weird injury. She's stabbed through the side from the tree. She was hanging on the thing.
She's hanging on a tree and she got stabbed through.
So she has a puncture wound through her side.
Yeah, so she has a puncture wound.
On the liver side, so she's probably not feeling too good.
And she stumbles all the way to the crucifixion part and lets Abby down. Abby lets Lev down. At this point, they're both like... Abby's super skinny now because, she's been crucified for a couple days at this point. And they let her go, and then as they're leaving, Ellie challenges Abby to a fight.
Abby says, I can't let you go.
Yeah, Ellie says that.
Ellie says that, yeah, I'm sorry.
And then after some convincing, they have a fight. Ellie has a knife and Abby has her hands because otherwise the fight wouldn't be even close to fair. Mm-hmm. So you slice up Abby's arms, and then you start drowning Abby a couple times. And then
Abby bites off her fingers.
Oh
so
yeah,
she loses all her 3 fingers. These
2
three.
fingers. The back 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The bad guy knuckles. She loses her bad guy knuckles.
Alright, gotcha.
And then, and then you start drowning her, and then it cuts to a cutscene, which you don't really understand because it's a really good game and you can flip to cutscenes really quickly. And you stop killing Abby because you have a flashback to Joel and their real last encounter, which is them talking on the patio. And Ellie is trying to make a plan with Joel to start trusting him again. And then basically you stop fighting Abby because you have a violence is bad moment and you let her go. And I think this is another really dumb part in the story because the entire story you are building up and building up and building up this revenge plot. And then at the very end, when you can finally get revenge, you don't get revenge. And that really bothered me. My final grievance is another grievance that doesn't really ruin the story for me, like the 2 fights, but it's just really annoying. And that's Dina. Throughout the entire story, I didn't really care about Dina, and at times I really disliked her, because during the fights, she just got in the way for me, and to me, she just seemed very annoying, and there was no reason to really care for her, and her and Ellie's relationship seemed kind of on the cut, like kind of on a whim, and not great, and I didn't really understand why they would, I don't really like that relationship. It didn't interest me, and I didn't really care about Dina. So that would be my last grievance, is I just didn't care about Dina enough, and there's no reason for me to care about Dina or root for Dina and Ellie. I would have been fine if Dina died. I would rather Dina die than Jesse, who is also not really a big character who you also don't care about, but to me, you would still care about more than Dina. So now you can go ahead and restate your old grievances or respond to mine.
The only part I really don't like about the game is the cover system. I still think they need a better cover system for Ellie and Abby when they're fighting. Besides for that, I like the game. I didn't think the story was that bad. I think playing through the game, I like Ellie less than I like Abby. I think that Ellie and Dina are just little whiny kids, and Abby's like, she didn't kill anyone she didn't need to kill.
Mm-hmm.
She only really killed Joel. She let everyone else go. When Ellie and Dina came through, they killed like all of Abby's friends.
Although that was part of the revenge plot. Ellie did say that she was going to kill all of them.
Yeah, she did say she was gonna kill all of them, and she killed all of them. And she killed a lot of other extra people that had nothing to do with Joel's death. She could have let her go. I didn't think the end fight was that bad. I do think it was a little bit drawn out. I think they could have just had them separate somehow without fighting at the end of the theater, and then have the last fight in Santa Monica be their actual fight. I like that Ellie lost everything trying to get revenge. Even at the end when she tries to play the piano and her fingers are gone, she can't play the chords right.
The
And
guitar.
yeah, even if you get it perfectly right, it still strums wrong. I thought that was a cool touch. I think game's really good. I don't mind the story too much. I know Derek hates Abby still, but at the end of the game I like Abby more than Ellie.
To be honest, I kind of agree with you with the whole I like Abby better than Ellie part. Because Ellie's whole story just seemed like some 13-year-old girl's revenge fantasy about her friend that she has some weird, killing fantasy about. And I really hated that. Like, everybody keeps posting this image kind of as a joke, which has Ellie's face, and there was somebody who posted Ellie's face with a caption above it that said, "Tell me a character who went through more pain, I'll wait." Mm-hmm. But to be honest, Abby probably went through more pain. All of Abby's friends died because of
And her dad.
Abby's dad died. Abby had to break herself away from the wolves. Abby had to deal with the guilt of, getting scandalous with Owen. And she has to deal with the death of Yara. She has to deal with the responsibility for Yara and Lev. And when Ellie threatens to kill Lev, Abby is like seriously worried. And all that happened to Ellie was Joel died. And you can make the argument, and I probably will agree with you, that Joel means more to Ellie than Abby's friends matter to her.
Not more than her dad did though.
True. But still, I really don't think Ellie's story didn't really hit as much as Abby's did. Abby's story was much more compelling, and I think another part of that is because Abby is the new character to the series, and I think all this hate for Abby's story and Abby's voice actor makes no sense. I think Abby was truthfully written well. I think her story made sense. She's starting to learn about a type of relationship that Joel and Ellie had, and I think Laura Bailey did a very good job, and I honestly think Abby was better written than Ellie throughout the entire thing.
They just wrote them differently. I just think a lot of it has to do with the pandemic and people got a lot extra time, so things like that matter more to them. So everyone's got a little bit more time to sit around and be more angry about things right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's all. That's the whole reason why you're getting all that. No, I mean about everything. Not about the voice actor. And I mean more of the real life stuff.
Because the other one's more of an epidemic. But
so what do you think? Played all the way through now. I went through both times. I did. I got platinum on it. Cleaned up everything.
I still think that my rating is probably closer to a 9.2 or a 9. And the only things that bother me are some slight technical issues. And what really bugs me are those two fights and the pacing. And that's all that I have against this game. Every other part of the game was enjoyable. Okay. Even though I didn't think Ellie's story was as good, I enjoyed it. So.
I still think I give it a 9.5 or 10. It's probably the best game for PlayStation 4. My favorite game for PlayStation 4 is still Spider-Man right now. Spider-Man was amazing. Even though the story wasn't as good, I enjoy playing. I enjoy web slinging, dude. I just like to fly around town.
Web slinging was awesome.
All right, so we're about 20 minutes in. Let's
Get to it
Early
first.
impressions of Ghost of Tiramisu.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, Ghost of Tiramisu. Or Tsushima. Sorry. I like tiramisu, it's yummy.
The game, I like Ghost of Tsushima a lot. So far, it's been good. I really like the gameplay. The fighting is pretty good. It's a nice open world. The game is obviously a little more clunky than Last of Us because it's a lot bigger and it's an open world game.
Do you think it's more clunky?
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's more clunky.
I think the transitions to cutscenes are a little more glitchy and slow and aren't as, graphically seamless. Aren't as seamless. And the wind is not done all that great. Like the guiding wind, it's not amazing. But it's still a very pretty game for being as big as it is. Like,
man, you're very demanding.
We're going from a story-driven game to a open world game. And even the water in Last of Us was kind of not, amazing. But it's because these games.
Oh my goodness.
It's
you
because
are brutal, bro. The
Have you
water
seen-
in Last of Us was good.
Have you seen the top tier gaming PC games
Ugh.
with the most recent hardware and ray tracing and all that? The PS5 games are gonna be just as big and look way better. You're just used to 8-bit games.
You're rough, bro. You're rough. That is good. It's one of the best on the market. For open world game, it's the best looking open world game.
You just haven't seen the top tier games. But
What's
anyway,
a better looking open world game than Ghost of Tsushima?
I can't think of one off the top of my head. But if you look at
Point.
if you
Caveman.
look at the performance abilities of $2,000 gaming PCs that can run at 4K, over 100 FPS, and ray tracing,
We're not even playing on the PlayStation Pro. We're playing on
it's
PlayStation
1,000 times
PlayStation.
better than anything the PlayStation 4 will put out. Although the PS5 is going to look just as good, for sure.
You're sounding very millennial right now.
But he's younger than millennial.
Oh, what's
Millennials are 30 now. Millennials are
Oh.
starting to get old.
What's your age group called?
Gen Z,
You're sounding very Gen Z right now.
Zoomers.
You're a Zoomer.
I am. But anyway,
What
Ghost-
gameplay?
The gameplay is amazing, and I will say the graphics aren't bad. They're really good, especially for an open world game. This game was it bigger than Last of Us? Is it more storage wise? Is it bigger?
I don't know. I never actually looked actually. It's probably bigger to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's not too disc though.
For an open world game, it's so pretty, and it is comparable to Last of Us. It's just Last of Us was visually probably the best game for PS4.
The faces aren't as well defined. Actually, the sound for us is we don't have a surround sound, so I think
We don't have a good sound setup.
Yeah, we don't have a good sound setup. But if you have the same sound setup as us, listening to the sound through the TV, the voice actors are hard to hear. I don't like that.
The sound is real compressed because they have different sound settings, and since we don't have headphones or anything,
We have the good headphones, the PS4
yeah, but we
headphones.
both can't listen to the
Yeah.
game then.
Usually Forrest plays and I fall asleep.
Because we're using. It's hard to die, so it's hard to know when to switch.
Yeah.
But
Forrest has been soaking up all the PlayStation time, but that's okay.
Yeah, because we have it set to TV speakers, it's not going to sound as good. But I'm sure if you have headphones or something, you'd be fine. And also the graphic settings want to make me play it again already, and I haven't even finished it. So
You can put it in black and white and in Japanese.
yeah, so already some of the settings want me to play it twice. Make me want to play it twice, even though I haven't even played it
The
once.
problem is even when you switch to Japanese, they still the lips is still in English.
Yeah,
So
but
it
it's in
doesn't change the lips.
Japanese.
It looks terrible. It looks horribly dubbed.
Anyway, yeah. So far, I'm very impressed, and I like the game.
The gameplay is similar to a cross between maybe Batman and Spider-Man, because you have the gadgets like Batman, but it kind of handles more fluid, more like Spider-Man does.
Since you have a sword and you have a bunch of different weapons, it's gonna be more complicated, I think. But yeah, it's
You have
gonna
to
be
use
interesting.
there's shoulder buttons to manipulate which weapons you're using and stuff, so you hold R1 and you press side or down on the D-pad to change
R2,
R2.
and then you press a button or a D-pad direction. to change your stance or your side weapon.
Yeah, different stance. It's a very excellent game. The horse riding is not Red Dead Revolution good, but it's Red Dead Redemption good, but it handles way better. It's not realistic at all, so it's more fun actually.
Yeah, I think the horse riding is fine.
Mm-hmm.
And also, there's a lot of collectible stuff already, which is going to be hard to keep track of. But the fact that there are so many different ways to earn cooler stuff is cool to me.
I do like some of the collectible stuff that's really cool is you chase foxes around to find
Or the
stuff.
golden birds.
Or the golden birds, and when you get near stuff, your controller vibrates. So it's not like all these other games that they really did it's just to eat up time to find the collectibles. You really can find them all while you're playing, at least so far.
Yeah.
I enjoy that part of the game.
Obviously, they're going to not all be easy to find. But, like, they give you bonuses and stuff, so they're not just like the Last of Us collectibles that were just kind of like, whatever.
And it has a level up system, so as you level up, you can choose what you put your points into.
The level up system, I will say, it's a very small thing. It's a very small thing, but it makes me enjoy the level up system a lot better. Is each time we get a new silhouette and a new title. And I don't know, for some reason that makes leveling up just more satisfying.
Yeah, it's cool. So, like, your popularity and your knownness across all of Japan, right? Because I know we're on a little island, but then we're going to go to the other island,
So for right now, so we went from the Lost Samurai to the Wandering Samurai to the People's Hope, and the new silhouettes and stuff, I don't know, it just makes me really excited to level up.
Yeah, and you can kind of, you can have a bow, you can have, like, ranged weapons, or you can have up-close weapons, and the way you choose your character, you can kind of individualize the way you play. If you're more of a stealth player or more of a open combat player.
What really individualizes your play though is the flowers, because you can just you can choose how you look. So you can choose different.
It has absolutely nothing to do with the way you play. It's just how you look.
Yeah, you can choose different headbands or different sheaths, like sword kits and stuff. And
Forrest likes to play Barbie when we play these games, so he's super into collecting flowers.
I had to get to made me sound like a wuss.
No, he's not a wuss. He's just like to dress your characters up.
Yeah, so I had to get 25.
You're the guy that would spend $1 million if you played.
I would not spend $1 million on Fortnite.
If you played Fortnite, you'd be the guy that bought all the stuff for Fortnite. That's pretty much what you're doing with the flowers.
You don't get to customize it. Like, you don't get to choose your own customization, though.
Although I do like the hat you put on the guy. It looks pretty sweet.
Yeah. So,
Forrest is a menus guy. He's in the menus all the time. It drives me nuts.
The menus are so important, though. Because there are collectibles, there's gear, a bunch of different charms and stuff. I'm telling you, the menus are going to become important.
That's how I feel about it.
The menus are going to become important.
If you didn't see it, you should watch a video edition of this.
Yeah, the menus will become important. And there's a lot of menus.
So the story is not very developed so far because it's an open world game, and we have not been doing the story mode much. There's so much stuff to do. We haven't really gotten to the story.
There's side quests that kind of have to do with the story, and then there are main quests, and then there are quests to get like mythic strikes and stuff.
So it's very cool. If you like Japanese anime at all, you will love this game.
If
The game plays really well.
Mm-hmm.
If you like open world games that has sword fighting in it, it's really good. If you like shooting stuff, probably not the best game.
The bow, yeah, you can't even hold on to the bow for a long time. Like eventually you have to let go even if you're holding the button down.
The stealth mode's not very good either.
Because you're supposed to be a samurai who takes everything head on.
Forrest tries to sneak around and stab her, but I just go in head first. And you can do showdowns, which are cool, but I suck at them.
The standoffs are actually a very interesting point in the game because they make the game easier, but it's also like something that really hasn't been done before.
But if you jack it up, it does a lot of damage.
Yeah.
So right now we have there's a showdown, so you hold triangle, and then when you let it go, you kill the guy. So you have to do it right when he attacks you,
and
then kill him.
We unlocked an ability that makes the second guy come.
Yeah, and I suck at the second guy.
You have to tap it when he starts coming at you. But the one thing I will say about the gameplay is certain combinations of enemies can be really annoying and difficult. Like when you were facing the 3 spearmen, like when we were playing today for that short little time to get our thoughts back, that was not going to be an easy fight no matter who was doing it. Just because the 3 spearmen are not a fun fight. If
Forrest would have leveled up the parry so he can parry the spear probably be a lot easier.
The spear parry is like 4 techniques down. You don't think we even got enough points to get it yet.
Yeah, you had to get the bring you back to life thing. That was 2.
Well, the bring you back to life thing we have used, actually.
It doesn't really work so good because you come back with no health.
We just need to get more resolve slots.
Yeah.
By finding more stuff.
The game is pretty cool.
It is cool. There's just some parts that are very frustrating, like the dogs.
I would say that it's... Do you think it's more or less fun than Last of Us?
It depends. Because if you're a person who likes playing stealthy and doing stealth things, then Last of Us is going to be more interesting to you. But if you like open world games and open combat and like fields and stuff with swords, or even if you like open world like gun games, I'm sure you'll like.
The other thing I like about this is you play in small segments. You can sit down for like 10 or 15 minutes and actually accomplish something.
Mm-hmm.
Last of Us, I felt like I needed to have an hour to sit down and play at least.
Yeah.
Alright, anything else?
Put a spoiler warning in the beginning of the video.
I will not do that.
That's mean.
Well, I should put a spoiler. This Last of Us 2's been out forever. We didn't spoil anything about this.
But yeah, we did.
What did we spoil about this?
A little bit.
Like what?
I guess not really.
We didn't talk about the story at all.
Okay.
And we didn't ruin it.
Okay.
I don't even know what the story is because I was kind of sleeping through it.
I
Don't. We'll figure it out.
I didn't do any story stuff while you're starting to get really dozed off.
When we do the review of this, we'll talk about the story too. So we'll come back and we'll give our final impressions on Ghost of
But if you
Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima?
Oh, yeah. Ghost of... What is it?
Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima.
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 There you go.
Alright, I got it.
T silent.
Tsushima. Tushimo. Touch my Tushi. Forrest gotta walk me through all this stuff. I do want to say one thing, man. I appreciate, even though COVID's like shut down so much stuff that I love to do, I like to have this time that we get to spend each other playing video games and even doing these podcasts. I mean, we always did these podcasts, but like having the time to play with you and hang out. And thank you very much for helping at WNY too. I appreciate that.
Thank you guys too. You guys have really been blowing up those videos.
Yeah, the Western New York MMA one really blew up quick. So if you want to see what we're doing, go check out the last video. Maybe we'll put a tag on it at the end and check it out.
And if you're still listening and you're a fan of video games in general, both these games are definitely worth checking out. My grievances, I don't think, really ruined my experience, and both the games are really...
The cover system needs to be fixed.
But either way, these games are really well-made games, and no matter what people will say on the internet, we both believe that these games are worth checking out.
Probably one of the best games for PlayStation, Last of Us 2. Also, hopefully they make it online for it, because that would be amazing.
Yes.
Just like the one for System 1. Alright, we're about 30 minutes in, so we are going to get out of here.
Go back to playing a little bit?
Well, I gotta edit this video and post it.
Well, you don't really have to edit it too much.
I don't have to edit it, but I still have to post it. And
Alright, I need to make a thumbnail for you.
Yeah, alright. You go make a thumbnail right now. Forrest is also making all the thumbnails now, that's why they're so much better. So Forrest is gonna go make a thumbnail. I'm gonna go get this rendered and put up, and then we'll meet back, alright?
Sounds good.
Alright, back for
Thank you guys for watching.
more Ghost of Tiramisu.
Alright. Thank you guys for watching. If you like what you saw here, don't forget to like what you heard here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It'll keep you up to date with what we post.
And we'll do better with the camera. I still have a phone, so we got this little tablet here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can see it on camera or not. And that's what Forrest's view is. That's why he looks so beat up.
It's really annoying to set up.
Yeah, I need to, maybe if we don't get a phone anytime soon, we can get a tablet holder. So I can hold the tablet and put it on you. Because we got to do something for the podcast, especially when we get Mr. Pat on. Alright, enough said. We're out of here. Love you guys. Thank you.